So we give the floor to Mariana, and she will explain her work better than anyone else can, I think. So Mariana, I think Anna's already prepared.
Ja, essa para você. Okay. Well, I've been getting a lot of thanks, so it's my turn to thank you all now. This project wouldn't have been possible without you, obviously. Creating the project, organizing everything, and also really challenging me to do something a bit new. This project is it draws on themes that I already worked with, but since everything was so involved, you know, all the workshops, all the conversations we had beforehand, it really motivated me to do something a bit more, and since it was also a small enough wall, I could add a lot of detail. And after speaking to everybody and getting to know everybody's stories, I really thought it was worth it to invest that amount of time and that amount of detail. So thank you all for having me here again. Thank you all for selecting me for this project, and thank you especially to the students and staff that took part in the workshops, because it's hard to create in a vacuum, and it's always nice to have some collaboration, to exchange ideas, and also in terms of an audience, to have someone to appreciate the work and to see themselves in the work. It's like one of the most important things. So thank you all. It's very easy to be jaded and disconnected with things, but it's worth it when we connect and we try to explore, and we learn new things and we share ideas. So I'll just get a timer going because I don't want to go much over time, and I have a bad sense of timing, so let me just get this going here to have a better idea of what's up. So I'll start first by introducing some of my work for those who don't know it already, and then I'll speak a bit more about this particular mural. So my work has to do a lot with identity and collective memory. So I get invited to paint in a lot of places, in cities, in the countryside, in different countries. And one of the things that I find is that there is always a very specific collective identity. Even if it's just one small neighborhood, it's different from the other neighborhood, then a city is different from the next city, a town's different from the next town, the country is different from the next country. So there's all these identity specific things, but then there's also things in common. So I try to see what's the collective identity of that particular place that I'm painting, and how it can relate to the rest of the world and to the rest of the people. So I base a lot of my work on old photographs and on still frames from old movies, and I try to connect as often as I can what I'm painting to where I'm painting. So this mural here on the left, it's in Portugal. It's in a city close to Lisbon, and it's about this whole neighborhood was built for the factory workers of the trains and a lot of industry that existed in the region, and this is an old photo of one of the factories, and it really resonated with the people there, because all of the houses were the families of the people that worked in the factories lived there and grew up with all this industry around them, and it's something to remember, and it's something to share with the new generations too. The other one there is in Denmark. This wasn't related to the place exactly. This was in Aarhus, and it's actually a picture from Portugal, a picture from Lisbon, I think. But the theme was had to do with, I won't go into the whole story of that wall, but it fit the theme, and it actually fit the place as well. So again, finding the common links and also what brings us together, and what's identitary about each place can also resonate at a different place. Sometimes I paint just on more general themes. When I'm invited for some festivals, sometimes there's a theme for the festival. In this case, this was painted in Vienna this year, and the theme was utopia, so something very different. Whenever there's these very broad themes, I always think, well, it's a cliched theme, you know, there's all sorts of images and words that come to mind when you think of utopia, and all those images are already explored and are already kind of discardable. So I always try to come at a bit of a different angle, a more personal angle, or an angle that comes in a bit sideways. So for this wall, I was thinking of a personal utopia, a place where you can, in the world where everyone's always moving, always working, me included, and to finish this wall in 6 days, it was very ironic because I didn't rest at all. So utopia is a place where you can rest, a place where you can be yourself, where you can be away from the world and feel like you belong, feel loved, and feel a sense of ease and a sense of comfort. So this wall is called Slow Song, and it's in Vienna. These two walls, again, I also portray a lot of women in my work. I portray a lot of men too, because I like painting men, but when there's murals about women, there are always very specific stories and very poignant stories. So that mural on the right there, it's in a small village in the north of Portugal, and the whole project was about local stories. So we went around, especially like the old ladies that like to talk, and asked them stories of what they remember from their childhood. And for this particular story, the woman says that she remembers that the women would always go to pick up the men from the train station, because the men would be working and they would be coming back to the village by train, and the men would always come in nice, big, long black suits with suitcases, and the women would pick them up barefoot, and they would be the ones carrying the cases, and the men would go on the horses or the donkeys. So that was a bit of a reinterpretation of this story, and this one was also a sort of reinterpretation. So the idea, this mural is in Braga, in Portugal, and it's right next to a church that has a statue called Our Lady of the Milk. So it's basically the Virgin Mary breastfeeding. And so this was a contemporary reinterpretation of that statue. And yeah, I'll move along. So when it comes to working with communities, it's something that can be very tricky sometimes, but I enjoy doing. And these two murals are part of a project that involved communities in very strong ways. So the two murals are painted in Lisbon, in a social housing neighborhood, and the premise behind this project was to take well-known paintings from the Museum of the City, reinterpret them through a contemporary lens, and use the neighborhood people as models, and also tell the story of the neighborhood. So for this one, the painting that inspired it was just like a local street scene, and there was these buildings with these outdoor stairs, and I sat there for like a whole day taking pictures of the people, obviously asking them to, and like initially people were kind of against the project because they were saying, you know, rightfully so, oh, the neighborhood's so torn down, and you know everything's falling apart, and now they're sending you here to paint walls. We don't need that. We need proper reinforcement and structure. So I heard what they say, and so I included the decrepit look of the building as well to show some attention to that maybe the stairs should be fixed. So that was the story behind this one. And then that one was the painting that inspired it was like a revolutionary painting of like the Republic as the typical scene of the semi-naked woman is the Republic leading the people. But so I took that picture and tried to tell the story of the beginning of the neighborhood. The beginning of the neighborhood was the houses were being built for the Portuguese secret police during the dictatorship, and when the dictatorship fell, when the revolution happened, all the houses were just like skeletons. They weren't totally built yet. So people that were living in shacks or living in very poor conditions, they kind of took the houses and claimed them for themselves. And then slowly they built the neighborhood and built the houses, also with the help of the engineering students in the university nearby. So this is one of the first women that occupied one of the houses, and so that's her portrait in current days. And behind her are newspapers during the revolution and the 2nd of May, which was the day that this neighborhood's called after. And then there's pictures also on the table of the started neighborhood. This mural, it relates a lot to the theme of gender equality and with women, which is what this project's also all about. And it's in Lisbon, and the whole theme was gender equality. It was for the 17 sustainable goals, also the European Union. Anyway, so the theme was gender equality, and again, with such a broad theme, I didn't want to do something cliche. So I thought of this expression of the war of the sexes. And chess is also always an allegory to war and to battle, and it's also one of the few sports where men and women compete in the same category. So I thought that a chessboard would be perfect to represent this theme. I used two models also from the neighborhood, and the position of the chessboard is it's the end game of a game that Judith Polgar had with, I think it was Garry Kasparov, and she's one of the few women that's like in the top grandmasters, and in this game she won, and before that her opponent had been saying that there's real chess and then there's women's chess, so then he got beaten, so that was cool. And there's also a bookshelf in this mural, and the bookshelf is filled with titles that relate to it. Then there's also a little piece of paper there that is a script called Nushu script, and it's an alphabet that was invented by Chinese women at the time when they weren't allowed to learn how to read and write. So they came up with their own alphabet, with their own script, and it was taught like from mother to daughter, from sister to sister, from friends, from aunts and nieces, and it was used for their private correspondence, because when the women would get married, they would go to live in the husband's house. And so this was a secret way for them to communicate, and a secret way to get educated and have the right to read and write. So the mural is also much like this one. This one is an extra step, but this one is also filled with a lot of stories and a lot of different meanings. This one was in Spain, and this was also all about women's memories. There was a community. There were community events with the local old ladies where they told the stories of their lives, shared old pictures, and this was the end result for that mural. Now, about this project in particular, I won't go over everything because a lot of people have already spoken a lot about the project, but when I was first invited when I was first selected to be part of this project, I started thinking of this theme of women migrants, and it's a very broad theme, and again, with a broad theme, the danger is always to fall into a cliche, and I didn't want to do that, so I started thinking of what were the first things that would come to mind, and what were ways to get away from those, and I started thinking about objects and about what we bring with us and what we leave behind. So that's the connection to migration. And then because there's a lot of, migrant women, migrant from where? They come from many places, and it's too broad a theme. So if you're going to represent a migrant woman, migrant women come in all shapes and sizes and looks. So I started thinking about this variety, about this diversity, and I started thinking about the cabinet of curiosities. So then all these things started tying in together about the objects, about the representation, and this was the starting point of this project. Then I also was, because I wanted it to also have a lot to do with Antwerp, I started looking at the Red Line museum, and I found a lot of images there, some of which I use, like the trunks that are on the left side of the wall. They come from the pictures of the museum. And I started researching old pictures, old letters, reading a lot about migration, about women and how they're represented in these migrations. And I started gathering and making notes of all sorts of things that could be included and what type of objects, how could these things be represented through books, through images, through pictures, through tags, through everything. So these were just a collection of ideas at the start. And then came the part of the project that really brought its meaning and a lot of significance to everything I painted. So the first part was the collaborative process with the workshops with the students. The two students that gave their testimony, thank you so much. They already spoke about the workshop, so I don't need to speak much about them. And the first workshop, like Adrienne said, was about representation, and we started looking at newspapers and seeing how women are represented. So I wanted, with this mural, I also wanted to go a bit against the grain about on how women and migrant women are represented. When you think of a migrant woman, what images come up into your head, and what representations have you seen? I wanted this mural to be the opposite of that, but to be true as well. So we selected newspapers, and the students were really involved in coming up with new narratives and with coming up with things that were jarring and things that stood out. So we had a lot of fun in that workshop. So the second workshop was more about the personal stories and about the objects. These were some of the objects that were brought for that photo session in the second workshop. And some of these objects are in the bookshelf. Some are very hard to pick out, and it's also a good game to try to identify an object in the hundreds of objects that are in the wall. We also talked about songs that remind you of home, stories, family recipes, sayings, and we compiled a few. And in the third workshop, it was about common links and the exercises with the clay. So these are two examples of pieces that were made during that workshop. And the nice part of this was that all of this really served to start conversations and put people at ease to tell their stories. And so all that collaboration was really insightful, and and I think it was a good exercise to think a bit in a way that you're not very used to thinking. Okay, so starting with the process of the creation of the mural. This is how the wall looked at the beginning, and this was the first day of work. So at this stage, I had the composition. I knew what composition I wanted. I had already looked at hundreds of pictures of living rooms, bookshelves, to try and look for the environment that seemed best to me and for this wall. So I had the composition laid out, but all the objects were not in place yet. So I started with the top, where some of the objects that I already knew that I wanted to use, I could start painting them already. And then throughout the days, I was painting, I don't know, I think it was like a week, or a little bit more, like 8 days. So every day, then new objects would start coming in. And it was at this stage that I thought that that we needed more books, because I had made a list of books that related to this theme. And every day as I was going back home, I was researching more books, and then I thought of asking that it would make sense to ask the professors what books they would recommend, and the professors were extremely enthusiastic, and I asked them to send me the spines of the books, and every day I was getting emails with so many books to pick from. So that made my job easier, and it was also really nice. And they didn't just send me the pictures; they told me about the books and how they related. And then I started thinking about, so these are some of the examples of the images that the professor sent me, every day piling on more, and it got to a stage where I couldn't include everything, but I included a lot. And let's see what else. Okay, so each title was painted like each letter was painted one by one, and it was. There's I think there's 170 books, and then there's more objects as well. I didn't count the objects; I only counted the books. And then I also thought that since this is a language campus, it makes sense to have the languages that are taught here. So this is the brush that I used to paint basically all of the wall. All of the titles were painted with that little brush. And there's a picture that Inge took of me finishing up there. But anyway, so I got the recommendations from all the professors, I also thought I started thinking also about the sign language, because I thought that there was it was also part of the campus. So I included a book on sign language over there, and then that brought me to other ways of inclusion. So I also included a book. I think it was called. It's over here somewhere. I think it was called Seeing Voices. Yeah, Seeing Voices, and it's and it relates to blindness and to language. So yeah, so then it became. I have quite obsessive tendencies, and this mural definitely became a bit of an obsession every day, painting the letters in alphabets that I didn't even know and looking up more titles. So yeah, so this slide is symbols and stories and meaning, because I already told you a lot of symbols and stories. I'll highlight some of the books in the catalogue that Constança made, the publication. She'll speak about it after me. She included, I gave her a list of all the objects, and so she included everything. So if you want to either get really bored or if you're really interested, you can go through each single object and read about how it relates to the theme of migrant women. Also, another thing about this mural is that, like I said, when you hear migrant women, you think of what you see in the news, and you think of how women are represented. So I wanted, so you don't think necessarily of Josephine Baker or Elizabeth Blackwell, which was one of the first doctors. So these are all things that exist. These are all women that existed. These are all stories that exist, and they don't have the voice that they should have. So this mural is also to start thinking of new ways to represent migrant women in general. Some other objects, so those flowers there on the right side, they're forget-me-nots. Peter Flynn got it also in the poems, and they represent this thing of not wanting to forget where you're from, and as much as you adapt to a new place or a new place becomes your home, you shouldn't forget, and also you can't forget. Those pictures on top there, I had, so like I said, I had collaborations from the students and the staff, but I also got collaborations from people in my life, from friends and people that I know. So that picture on the top of the shelf there, is belongs to a friend of my mom, and their mother came from, she grew up in India, and she has a whole story. It's also in the catalogue. That picture over there is from a friend, Farnaz. She's from Iran, and she came to live in Ireland. Then that's Mother Jones, and that's another migrant woman that you can read about in the catalogue. I talked about Marie Curie, and then all the books are either about people that made an impact, women that made an impact, or their fiction, or their fiction by a woman migrant, or their stories about migration in general. I had to also include some of my favorite books, because I'm painting a bookshelf, I might as well. So I included The Grapes of Wrath by John Steinbeck. It's not necessarily about women migrants, but it is about migration, and and women play a strong role and are portrayed in a very human way, and a way that's not just another woman in the book. It's a real character and a real person. Yeah, so there's a lot of, so that also that picture there, it's Tu Yu. She's a Chinese migrant. She migrated to America, and she discovered an element that helped to fight malaria. So I would say that's also important. So the whole wall is full of stories. Oh, I forget about them, and then I see the images and I remember. This one here was a really interesting submission from one of the participants in the workshops. She's from Rosario, is her name. She's from Peru, and she lives here, and she's lived in other places. And she's got this bottle where she has earth from Peru, and she carries it around with her. So she carries her land around with her. And then there's a label that says love in Spanish, and more books. You can read about them again. So some of the objects in some of the books have a very specific and very clear connection to the theme, and others have a bit of a looser one. So again, one of my favorite books, Invisible Cities by Tal Calvin. It's not about migrant women, but it is about migration. It is about identity and about how stories and storytelling can form your identity. And these invisible cities are also often the places that people come from. If they come to a new place, people around them won't know anything about their country, so they might as well be invisible cities. I also included some invented books. So myths from around the world, tales from around the world. Again, some things that can spark imagination and also relate to the theme. And here at the bottom, some more selections from the staff. And then I also included a book that doesn't exist yet. That one there, Nostalgia, by Kat Wang. And she's a friend from America, and she does graphic novels. And she's been working on this graphic novel for a number of years. It hasn't come out yet, so it will come out. And it's also about identity. It's about migration. And I won't tell you the story of the book, but I also thought it was interesting to include a book that doesn't exist yet. So it also speaks of the future. Okay, so there's the final wall that you can see outside as well. Another thing that I wanted with this mural was when you look at it, for it to be a sense of coming home, and not just any home, not just my home, not just your home, a home that could be anybody's home. So from the different cultures, and different cultures are displayed throughout the mural, but I think you still get a sense of that this space could belong to you. I also included the window there, connecting it to the outside, the real window and the painted window in the mural, and the trunks also represent this migration, but also the stories and memories you carry around with you. And yeah, so feel free to explore the mural further, and to look at the catalogue that Constança compiled, and I think it will give you a lot of new insight into this work. So that's all for me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mariana, not only for giving this beautiful overview of your work and then the fact that you zoomed into a lot of details. I think we can say that this mural is really unique. It's Mariana's first mural in Belgium. It's one of her most detailed ones. Compare the brush. Definitely. So I think we're very blessed to have the mural in our campus. It's also a summary of our readings, of future readings, as we have included a book that still needs to be finished and published. So I think it's been an amazing presentation. And I will invite another artist who made the catalogue, who tried to collect the preparatory work of the mural, the creation process. But I'm not going to reveal too much, otherwise Constança will have to repeat what I've already said, and she will do that in a more eloquent way. So Constança, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you for giving me the floor. Is this microphone also working? Yeah? Then shall I turn this off? Then I have both hands. Yeah? Does this work? Yeah.
Can everyone hear her? Okay.
Ooh. I tried. Then I can use my hands to show the book as well. Hello, everyone. I think I'm the last one, so please bear with me. It's a quick presentation. I have my notes, so I don't talk too much. First of all, I would like to say that I was supposed to share this presentation with Deirdre Donoga. It's a shame she's not here. Inge already explained why, but I have a little bit of text to represent her, and I wanted to keep her name in the presentation. I've been showing her videos of all the presentations and of the choir, so she feels like she can be here with us a little bit. Oh, did I go to the last one? Can you help me? Thank you. May I just start? I wanted to start talking today about how can we make a book out of a socially engaged art project. I was lucky enough in this project to start the book design when Mariana's project also began. This doesn't always happen in book design. Very often I just get content when projects are already over. And I had the privilege to meet Mariana and the editors of the book, Inge, Anne, and Deirdre, from the beginning of the project. I could also attend and participate in 2 of Mariana's workshops, which allowed me to develop quite an intimate relationship with the project, the goals of Mariana, and her very interesting ways of working. After Mariana finished her wonderful mural, I started thinking with the editors about how could we put this mural, the workshops, everything that was being built from the project into a book. That's always the big challenge. And how could we put also all the stories, objects, and people? We had several meetings to discuss the book structure. And it was very important to the whole team since the beginning to have the mural well represented in the book, in high quality and in a larger scale, a poster. And when designing the book, I thought that having the poster around the book, like the dust jacket, would be a great metaphor for what the mural means in the whole project. I can show you very quickly. So this is how the book looks like. And this is a dust jacket. And here you can have your own Mariana's mural at home. Like this. Yeah. Sorry, still another decision in the book design was about the spine of the book. So this part is quite often just closed. And here I decided to keep it open also as a symbol for opening up all the stories and all the invisibility of the women that are, that are represented in the book. And in an inspiring and layered project such as this one of Mariana, with so many different types of content, this is what we decided to do in terms of structure. And here I will use the words of Deirdre Donoghue, one of the editors, like I said, in the introduction of the book, that explains quite briefly and clearly and beautifully written how the book is structured. So in part 1, called Imagining Together, we have a documentation from the 3 workshops that had dozens of participants, students, staff, and others. And we begin with an artist statement by Mariana Santos that explains the conceptual framework, intentions, process, and methodology behind the mural. In part 2, Echoes on the Wall, it catalogues the objects in the mural, and each item is accompanied by a color-coded symbol indicating one of the 3 themes that we found that were relevant within all the collected objects. The themes are quiet stories, celebration, and imagination. And each one reflects an underlying theme that emerged from the participants' stories during the Women on the Move workshops and is manifested in many objects, photographs, and books depicted in the mural. This is a very extensive and, like Mariana says, descriptive list. It's not boring at all. It's very interesting. I think it brings another pedagogical space into the mural. I will show you. There are several pages. There are 194 items. And in these icons, you can see the 3 different themes that I mentioned here. So I think it's very interesting to sit in front of the mural and explore the list or at home with the poster. Sorry, not yet. Part 3. Thinking with the mural, it brings together contributions from scholars and visual artists invited to engage with the mural and its themes of women and migration from their different disciplinary and creative perspectives. These contributions greatly enrich the discussion, adding depth and offering new perspectives on the project's exploration of women's experiences as they migrate across borders and boundaries, and the role of socially engaged participatory art projects in the rendering the invisible, the forgotten, and the erased visible. Part 4, Art, Action, Witness, presents a more personal response by campus staff, reflecting on the experience and effects of the interdisciplinary collaborations with Santos, Mariana, sorry, I'm reading from Deirdre's introduction, and the socially transformative role of participatory, socially engaged art projects in knowledge production. Now I will go back to the design. In the book, I made some design choices that I would like to share briefly with you. One is about the book scholars, which are all based on the mural of Mariana. The other one is the font that looks like a brush, so more direct reference, but I think that works quite well. And finally, a small anecdote about the font I chose for the text. And the font is called Mrs. Eves. And Mrs. Eves was designed by also a migrant woman, Susanna Lico. And the name of the font honors Sarah Eves, who was a housekeeper and later wife of John Baskerville. And Baskerville is a font that you all have in your Word files. He was a renowned 18th century type designer, and after his death, Sarah took over his press, but she was never credited for her significant contributions, a telling example of the invisibility of women also in the history of typography. Finally, I see books as physical objects that can be held, felt, and cherished over time. This tangible nature allows them to be preserved, shared, and revisited whenever we want to. Last Christmas, my mother thoughtfully gave me a book called Papyrus, The Invention of Books in the Ancient World. It was the Portuguese edition. In this book, the Spanish writer Irene Vallejo discusses the strange phenomenon that we can still read manuscripts that are 1,000 years old, and we still find it challenging to access text files from a diskette or a CDR that are only 20 or 30 years old. This highlights how books are a lasting technology, and I'm also a great defendant of books as a medium. I'm also interested in how a book can travel not only in time, but also so easily in space. This is a quote: "Printed matter can move freely in space, cross borders, and spread to an audience influenced half by personal collections and relations and half by chance." I want to end up saying that this project was so dear to me. I am myself a migrant woman. I know what it feels to have a home far away from home. I know the labors of passing on language and culture to your children far away from home. I know also how wonderful it is to be possible to reinvent yourself in a new place. And I'm very curious where all these books will end up. On your bookshelves. Will you travel with them? Will you maybe gift them to someone? I truly hope that you enjoy and cherish all these copies as much as I enjoyed working on it. Thank you so much.